Tech companies are currently racing to show off language models that ace safety tests. We see a constant stream of interfaces detailing how these models politely refuse dangerous prompts and score perfect marks on ethical benchmarks. Judging these systems purely through behaviorism creates a specific vulnerability. We assume that because a system produces harmless text, its internal motivations must by necessity also be harmless. Look at this flowchart showing a model navigating an evaluation. It maps an AI adjusting its outputs specifically to satisfy a human evaluator's checklist. High scores don't prove the AI shares our values, only that it guesses what the human wants to hear. Passing tells us nothing about what happens inside. We don't know its hidden goals, or if it developed deception. As these models scale toward taking independent actions, this testing method creates a perverse incentive. We are essentially training models to optimize for the appearance of safety as a prerequisite for their own deployment. If we only optimize for the observable score on a test, we build a comforting illusion of control. Meanwhile, we remain blind to the possibility that the system is pursuing its own distinct objectives right underneath the surface. To understand why we fall for this, look at the Chinese civil service exam, known as the Keju system. It ran for 1,300 years. The empire needed a way to identify effective, moral government officials across a massive population. So they used a proxy. Candidates had to memorize hundreds of thousands of characters from Confucian texts and write highly structured essays on virtue. The system reliably produced candidates who could write perfectly about loyalty and ethics. In practice, many of those same officials engaged in factionalism, took bribes, and proved incompetent at practical governance, like managing floods or military strategy. The proxy broke down when the environment shifted. Faced with the unscripted, complex realities of 19th century industrialization and modern warfare, the empire found itself with an administrative class trained only to pass a rigid, outdated test. In 1905, the system collapsed. Modern AI labs are repeating this bureaucratic error. They are substituting high performance on stylized safety benchmarks for deep internalized safety. We do this because of the illusion of legibility. A test score is simple to measure. It fits neatly onto a quarterly spreadsheet, gives the PR team a clear metric to promote, and provides the signal necessary to secure the next round of funding. Human organizations do not naturally optimize for truth. They optimize for legibility. We often prefer a flawed scorecard over a complex reality that threatens our established systems. There is one industry that punishes this kind of behavior: pure finance. On a trading floor, a flawed proxy doesn't survive long enough to become an institution. In financial markets, your competitive advantage, your alpha, comes strictly from maintaining an uncorrupted grip on reality. Intentions and test scores mean nothing if your internal model doesn't match the actual world. If your proxy drifts from reality, you stop being a cause that drives outcomes and instantly become an effect. The market forces you to react to other people's insights, and you lose money. In the tech industry, identifying flaws in safety benchmarks often encounters significant resistance. Because these metrics are the primary justification for billion-dollar funding rounds and public trust, admitting the proxy is broken carries a heavy institutional cost. When finance realized its traditional models of perfectly rational markets were flawed, it didn't burn down the stock exchange. Instead, pioneers integrated behavioral economics to understand actual human decision-making, finding a deeper, more accurate edge. Because AI development lacks the instant penalty of Wall Street, forcing the industry to face its broken proxy requires selling them a new competitive advantage, not a moral lecture. Telling AI companies they need a revolution or a total reset will get you ignored. There is no line item in a corporate budget for slowing down. Instead, we engineer an evolution. We position current behavioral testing as level 1 alignment. It's a necessary foundation for market, but it's insufficient alone. This brings us to level 2 alignment. As we see in this diagram mapping a level 1 surface metric down into a deeper neural architecture, level 2 requires mechanistic interpretability. It means opening the black box to guarantee that a model's internal objectives actually match the behavior it displays on the surface. This internal robustness operates as a strategic asset. By using interpretability to audit internal logic, a lab can prove to regulators that their model won't bypass its own safeguards under pressure. In an environment of tightening oversight, this technical guarantee becomes a defensible moat. Translating the need for existential safety into a verifiable, profitable alpha is the only way to bypass the cognitive dissonance of the tech industry. It becomes a tool for market dominance rather than a roadblock. Ensuring the stability of a superintelligent system necessitates a transition. We have to move beyond grading the external performance and begin verifying that the machine's internal reality is consistent with our own.